As Rumi said, the greatest form of learning is unlearning. And in my own unlearning and my own destruction of beliefs and in my own uncertainty, you just keep seeing deeper and deeper and deeper. And that's when I met Jules. And Jules, you had a near-death experience where this was kind of revealed to you. And so Jules has kind of been my teacher in a sense on this specific topic that we're going to be sharing. It's a bit different from what you've heard before. And we're going to try and make it self-evident for you, because we don't want you to believe anything we say. We want you to look within your own experience, your own heart. And if it resonates with you, great. When you look out at what we term physical reality, which is really just one formless field of consciousness, but let's look at physical reality. Have you noticed that everything is in constant movement? Did you know that the Earth right now is moving at 1.5 million miles an hour? Subatomic particles are spinning. Earth's rotating. You look at nature, winter, spring, summer, fall. We're getting older. Creation, destruction. There's this intrinsic, underlying, universal movement of all things. Okay. Now, you can not believe that everything's in constant flux and movement, but you're still going to get older. You cannot believe that things are in movement, but you're still going to have to move your body. Okay, so we're not talking a belief system, we're talking about fundamental underlying powers. And I'm going to talk about why I'm saying this, because it's probably like, well, what the hell has this got to do with inner freedom? Bear with me.
Well, we kind of said something on the last, sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah, go ahead. No, go
on
ahead.
The last, I think it was the last couple webinars about when the oocyte meets which is the egg, the female egg meets the sperm, there is something that's called a zinc flash that initiates an intrinsic movement, an intrinsic wave of zinc expanding and contracting. And this is necessary for this mitosis and meiosis. This is necessary for us to grow, us to expand, not only spiritually, emotionally, but physiologically, muscular, skeletally. That's how we grow. But yeah, I wanted to.
So it's all movement. So when you zoom in, okay, from one universal mind, one consciousness, one's essence, whatever words you want to put on that, when you zoom into the absolute essence, okay, we are that essence humaning. We're not connected, we are that humaning. We're entangled. I prefer the word entangled.
Yeah.
Now, when you zoom out, there's just that one essence. When you zoom in, we are that one essence in a movement of experience, not two, one. Okay. And as the essence humaning, there's a human experience. And some people want to transcend the human experience, become pure spirit, but in a sense, you're going against what God, universal mind, has set up, because it's purposefully seemingly separating itself to have a human experience for it to look back at itself. It's absolutely necessary. Now, when you zoom in further, the human experience, I'm going to do a diagram, looks a little bit like this movement. Feel great, then you feel crap. You feel empowered, then you feel disempowered. Question, has anybody here ever felt the same way with no movement of their experience their entire life? Okay, so it's kind of evident that we ebb and we flow, okay? it's kind of self-evident that everything's in constant movement. Again, we're not talking belief system. We're talking about fundamental underlying forces here. Okay. Does that give us a head nod if that makes sense? Okay. Thank you, guys. So when you look at the human experience, this is why I get a bit revolutionary.
Yeah, you are.
What many teachings, understandings, modalities teach is a little bit like this, okay? When you're up here, let's call this the flow. I'm going to put the flow, and let's call this the ebb, okay? Ebb and flow. What's some other words for it?
Contraction, expansion.
Okay, contraction, expansion. Any other words?
Ebb and flow, contraction, expansion.
The cyclic experience.
Intrinsic movement necessary for life.
So I'm going to be creative and pick a different color. Look at that. So that works. When many understandings look at the flow, it's a little bit like this is your true nature. You're getting a something. You're in alignment.
Natural state.
This is your natural state. Because you feel free, you feel expansive, everything's great, you're getting where your experience is coming from, you're in alignment with something, you're in your true nature. It's really cool. So in a sense, it's a little bit like, okay, you're doing it right.
Right.
Okay. Conversely, when you're ebbing, this can happen. Oh, you're in your false self. You're not getting whatever it is. You're out of alignment.
And you're in your unnatural state.
And you're in your unnatural state. Okay, I'm just going to check in. Give us a head nod if that makes sense so far, guys. Does that kind of make sense? Yeah. Okay, cool. Now, many understandings, they don't do this on purpose. It's a little bit invisible. But what can happen is when you create this line along here.
What do you call that line, Rudy? Rudy named it.
The line of discontentment. Where this experience is right, this experience is wrong. So you're good if you're on that side of the line. You're not good if you're on this side of the line.
Right.
And they can give it a bit of lip service. They can say, you know, our thinking changes and we have a human experience and blah, 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 but they're still kind of teaching this and this. It's a duality.
Yeah.
It's a splitting of experience between a this and a that. I don't know if you guys ever played ping pong. Actually, tennis. This is me watching tennis. There's this back and forth. Oh, I'm in my true nature. Oh, no, my false nature. I'm getting something. Oh, I've lost it. I haven't got something. I'm in alignment. I'm in the flow. No, I'm not. I'm in the... So there's this batting back and forth.
There's a batting back and forth, but also there's an alienation.
Yes.
There's a resistance of, oh, well, that's not me. I am not that. You know, I am pure consciousness, which we are, but we're pure consciousness having a human experience with the necessary, inevitable contractions and expansions, ebbs and flows that are necessary for, and I don't mean that in a spiritual way, necessary for growth, but necessary for growth. My hair would not grow. Rudy would not get more muscles if there wasn't a contraction and expansion in our physiology, in our muscular skeletal, but also every time I call it whole sight, or Rudy calls it whole sight. I don't remember who came up with that. But so we have an insight, but it's integrated. It's integrated during the contractions, during the natural necessary ebbs of life. We have this information. You can call them downloads, you can call them insights, you can call them whatever. But until we embody that in our physical body, it's no. I don't want to say anything. It's just, that's why we call it a whole sight. It's something that we can carry with us in our physicalness, and it softens our experience when we whole sight this. I'm sorry if I jumped in.
So, no, that's good. I'm going to come back to that point. Okay, guys, give us a head nod. Okay, put your hand up or virtual hand up. Have you ever judged yourself because you feel you didn't get a something or you lost a something? Okay. And you kind of got self-judgmental. Yeah. Have you ever, I mean, I'm going over slightly different understandings without saying what the understandings are here. Have you ever felt that you got judgmental because you felt you weren't in your true nature, like you were in your ego, you identified with yourself, you were in your unnatural state? Who's ever done that before? Okay. So what happens is when you split one whole experience up into two, with a this and a that, a right and a wrong, it will invariably, inevitably create self-judgment, alienation, vilification, because you're not doing it right. Okay. Now, my point is, what happens if that was utter crap and that was utter crap? All spiritual crap, and I say crap one more time, I didn't say the S word, so that's quite good for me. And what would happen if, as a universe humaning, there was one whole experience without the line? I'll tell you what would happen. No alienation, no vilification, no getting, no not getting, no true, no false, no in, no out of alignment, no alienation, just the whole experience, just as it is. Who here, okay, has had a seeming ebb, challenge, a dark night of the soul, something that was tough for them, but through that deep experience, it humbled them, it changed them, it made them nicer people, it just did something, it opened their heart more after the fact? Who's ever experienced that? Okay. Now, what would happen if this is necessary? How this gives contrast to that. There isn't a that without a this. There isn't a this without a that. If you're always happy, you don't know happiness. You're always joyful, you don't know joy. You need this seeming opposite to know what it is. It's the whole experience. Anything you want to say about that?
Yeah, that's one point. Yeah. But there is this intrinsic movement necessary for this human experience. There is this, and which offers a space for contrast, which offers a space for contemplation, for integration, for embodiment. And I lived believing that this was bad, this was horrible. And the more I believed that this was bad, the longer I stayed there. I stayed there for a long time.
How long?
10 years. And just forcing myself to go to work till one point it was debilitating. I couldn't get out of bed. And living in that space and then having the experience that I did in 2014, I could see post that experience, I could see this movement of energy contracting and expanding. And it's actually this, it's this. Each and every beautiful expression on this earth has this movement of, you know, I say we're biochemical, electromagnetic, plasma-like beings because that's what I saw. And then understanding when there's a natural, necessary, inevitable contraction, there's a sense of grittiness in our being. There's a sense of, oh, I don't feel well. I'm tired. I shouldn't be tired and I should feel well. Then you have that layer of judgment over and above that. And so what Rudy masterfully did is took this and perpendicularized it. So he added the ebb and flow to it. And that was such a gift because each and every time there was a contraction, I knew it wasn't a step back. I knew I wasn't doing something wrong. I knew that it didn't mean, even though my experience seemed gritty, I knew it didn't mean that I was a bad person. And it offers contrasts. It being, okay, I know if you're our students, so this is everything that ever was and ever will be. This is the essence of life. However, it is all unified. It is all conformed. It is one. So it's everything that ever was and ever will be, but with no experience. And this is just what I saw. So in an effort to birth and gift and offer us the human experience, we need to express. There needs to be, these are humans, not just 8 billion, and bumblebees and trees and cats and dogs. But there needs to be this seeming extension, this extension out from source. And in order to do that, there needs to be a vibration. There needs to be an ebb and flow. There needs to be movement because it offers a space for contrast. It offers a space for echoing. You've heard resonate. Resonate, the Latin term for resonate is resonatia. It means to echo. It offers a gift of experience to and fro.
Beautiful, honey. So our point is, what would happen if unconditional inner freedom, and Julian, we're going to ask you to talk about this in one moment. Julian is a previous, well, he's a current but previous student of Wholality, wholeness of being. What would happen if inner unconditional freedom wasn't in transcending? What if it was in embracing the whole experience without the line of discontentment?
Right.
You can have a bad day. You can shout at your kids. I mean, obviously we do our best to be the best we can be, but you don't have to judge yourself about it. It's like, oh, I'm ebbing. When you're ebbing, you're not doing anything wrong. You're not getting something. You're not out of alignment. You're just ebbing. Why? You can't help it. You are the universe moving. Like you can't not just transcend and stay there. Like even the Buddha, I was a Buddhist for years. Even the Buddha who gained enlightenment, it's supposedly, he was still very tight to his cultural beliefs. It took him a long time to accept women as nuns because he was still conditioned by his cultural beliefs. He still had terrific back problems. So when you look at the whole experience, you stop vilifying, judging it and splitting it, and you're just in what is happening now in its wholeness. It's in its entirety.
Yeah.
And it takes this enormous chunk of identification and judgment and vilification and egotism and splitting off your mind.
Yeah. We still cry. We still get sad. My daughter's birthday was 3 days ago, 6 days ago.
He's passed away.
Who's no longer here in the physical form, Sophia. And so there was a sense of sadness, absolutely, and I cried, but also because of that experience, it represented something. It meant, and I wrote about it on Facebook, it meant that she was born. It meant that she was here. I got to hold her in my tummy and she got to call me mommy. It meant this beautiful gift of this human experience that at times seems so painful and can drop you to your knees. But still, it's a gift, because without that, I would have never known her. I would have never been able to hold her. I would have never been able to love her and look at her beautiful little eyes. And at times it can be painful, but we're not saying that you're going to be free from pain.
No.
Say your quote.
We aren't nature.
No, the freedom within the human experience.
I don't know what quote you mean.
Oh, freedom isn't a state of.
Oh,
that one.
Something, as I said that ages ago. Freedom isn't in a particular state.
Right.
Freedom is being able to experience all states with freedom. You are never going to have any inner freedom if you're doing this, trying to be up there.
Right.
Because it's elusive, because you are going against nature. Nature moves. This is our natural movement. Get rid of true nature and let's look at
whole nature.
Nature ebbs, nature flows. Nature ebbs, nature flows. If we get in line with that as a universe humaning, and we embrace, there we find unconditional freedom.
Right. The only thing true about true nature is nature.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Rudy's, we aren't part of nature, but we are nature, and we aren't part of nature. We are nature in human form. And I added, as nature, we cycle. We cycle. There's this intrinsic rhythm that we sense deep in our bodies, deep in our knowing, without knowing how we know it's there. There's an expansion, an inevitable, necessary contraction. We want to hold space for you to be wholly human.
Yeah. For me, it's just released more love, more compassion for myself and other people. Because you can throw all this away. You have to come back to love. Because in my mind, everything else is kind of a bit of a distraction. Mm. And fundamentally, whatever understanding you follow, if it isn't making you more loving, if it isn't making you embrace your commonality with other people, if it isn't making you more humble, then it's probably going in the wrong direction for you. Yeah.
This love, this divine love, is this non-dualistic sublime love. It's this oneness, and the sublime in it is so divine, but it's expressing outward with movement, with contraction, expansion, with everything that means to be human. It's this, again, it's this non-dualistic sublime love that's forever moving, forever ebbing, forever flowing. And that's what we get to experience in our gift, a gift of the human experience.
Yeah, right now I'm a bit nervous because I'm trying to unpack something that we do over 2 months. I'm trying to distill it into 30 minutes. I'm a bit nervous. Doesn't mean I'm out of alignment. I'm not my true self. It doesn't mean I'm not getting something. Yes, I'm feeling a little bit nervous. This is the human experience. I'm okay in that wholeness. So maybe Julian,
if you can do it in 2 minutes.
What we're going to do, we're going to hear from Julian just a little bit, and then we're going to have a break where we're going to play these videos for you guys. Then we're going to come back and it's going to be more interactive with Q&A. So Julian, could you talk a little bit about your own personal experience of unconditional freedom? And Julian, I know that this is just one point of the wholeness, and I know
Yeah.
that you've embodied more than just this point. But if you could talk a little bit about what unconditional freedom means to you, that would be wonderful.
Yeah, I'm just I've been thinking about how to say this, but I think the main thing that occurs to me is just that this wave you've drawn, this is the design of the human experience. This isn't a mistake. This is how it's supposed to be. If you think you're going to be happy and up at the top the whole time, that's impossible. It's not going to happen. So once you accept that, then you begin to see that when you're feeling down or lower, that's just a natural part of being human, right? So what happens is you lose the judgment of that. You lose judgment of that. And when you're just okay with feeling low, you're much more able to flow back up again, basically, right? Because it's like nothing new is born into this world without the movement. In fact, birth is a series of, done physically by a series of contractions, and they're often very uncomfortable, right? Not a lady, but that's how it is, right? But that's how something new and beautiful is born into the world. We're here to grow and experience. That's why we cannot but resist the wave of experience. That's how it works. If what's behind everything is a sort of divine love, it's the way I see it is by humaning as all of us, it's reflecting back on itself, and it's expanding because love has to expand. That's its nature. You can't expand without contrast. You need to know the opposite. You need to know sadness to know happiness, right? You need to know joy to know sorrow, sorrow to know joy. That's how it works. And I'm not saying you should stay stuck in sorrow. I'm just saying that the wave is necessary. It's by design. And if you can accept that and see that you're perfect just as you are, and you're not doing anything wrong, you're just feeling the way you're feeling, experiencing life perfectly by design, then that brings a lot of peace. That brought me a lot of peace. Because I used to reach for the positive feeling, reach for the sublime bliss. I mean, and if I didn't have it, I don't know. I did judge myself for getting it wrong, but it was more I just wouldn't allow it. Like, that's not really happening. But your negative feelings are necessary. Sometimes there are things you need to look at, and they're messages. They're telling you, that you need to look at that relationship that isn't working, or you need to do something about your finances, whatever it is. You can't do any of that in the human world if you don't have these sensations and feelings that tell you that there's something to do, there's something to look at. So there's a gift in all of our experience, and without it, we wouldn't be here being human, right? So it's positivity is beautiful and definitely something to embrace, but denying the negativity or the other side of it is just not how it works. To use Jules and Rudy's analogy, a battery doesn't work without its positive and negative ends. That's the only way there can be movement and energy. So I could keep waffling on, but I think that's what I'm trying to say, is that you just need to be, you can be okay in every aspect of your experience. And when you see that that's just a divine love experiencing itself as you, when you see that that's just the way it works, and you're perfect as you are, then that is unconditional inner freedom.
Yeah,
Yeah.
beautiful.
Beautiful.
I love that design.
Wow. I like
Beautiful.
that. Thank you, Julia.
Yeah, thanks, Julie.
Perfect. So what we want to do now is we are going to have a 10-minute break. We're going to play two people who've seen this, I mean, and other stuff, but largely this very, very deeply from an embodied level. And you can see this huge transformation.
They're short. They're about 2.5 minutes.
Yeah, they're
each.
2.5 minutes each. So we're going to play that in the break time. And please watch that, because this just kind of verifies that what we're saying here is very helpful to people. And if you've got questions or comments, put them in the chat and we'll have some interaction for 10 minutes after the break. So thank you guys. And we're going to play the videos in uno momento, and we'll see you back in 10. Thanks, Julian. You're a legend. We love you.
Before, it was a sense of something's wrong with me. Something's missing. I'm different to other people. Couldn't relax. Very rarely did I feel good or did I feel happy. And knowing that I had certain patterns of behaviour, I've had eating disorders since I was a child, anorexia, bulimia, binge eating. And I knew there were coping mechanisms. But when life on the whole seemed to look okay, it didn't make sense that I would do that. I felt disconnected. I didn't feel whole. Something just felt off. I've just realised when I first came to Wholality, I couldn't cry, stopped being able to cry, didn't laugh. So I would just go through the motions where I couldn't cry, couldn't laugh, couldn't experience any emotion, almost as though this was disconnected from this. And it just felt as though I'd go from one crisis or one situation to the next. From that place of something's wrong with me, there was just constant searching, constant reading, watching things, doing courses. I felt pretty worthless. Never felt that I belonged, not even in my birth family. Didn't believe I mattered, didn't believe anyone cared. I never, from a very, very young age, I never felt seen, I never felt heard. And I felt it was because there was something lacking in me. Yeah, it was just like a treadmill. Get up, get on with the day, push that feeling of something's wrong away. That sense of there's more I want to do with myself, with life, but feeling you haven't got what it takes. So then on the other side, having had my one-to-ones, having studied the program and being where I am now, truly, hand on my heart, I can say this without a shadow of a doubt. I totally love me. And I didn't before. There was a lot of self-loathing going on and a lot of guilt and blaming myself. But now I can look in the mirror and say, I love me. I can be out anywhere with other people, women and ladies, toilets. Look in the mirror as you're washing your hands. I used to look away. It's almost as though I didn't feel worthy of looking in a mirror when someone else is there, really hating what I would see or what I would experience. Now I do it all the time. I feel loved, I feel accepted, I feel I matter, I feel I belong. I feel I'm more than good enough. And my God, am I worthy? Just because, not because of credentials or anything else, but just because I'm alive, I'm here. I do feel seen, I do feel heard. But more importantly, I love me, I accept me. I know I belong. I see me, I hear me. I'm not pushing, feelings, desires, and anything that comes up. I'm not pushing anything away. And wherever I go, whether it's somewhere I've been before or it's somewhere completely new, there's a sense of excitement and being present with what shows up. without any of, I guess, what I lived before. I enjoy life. I really do enjoy life now. And I'm not judging me. I'm letting my heart guide me into what I want. So to kind of sum up, before, life was just about survival. It was hard. It was really, really hard. It was painful. I didn't want to be here. I couldn't understand how other people were living, laughing, having fun, going on holiday, where for me, going on holiday, why the hell would you go on holiday when I'm taking me with me? Nothing's going to change. And now I don't even need to go on holiday because every day just feels amazing because I throw myself into it, because I don't have that voice that is telling me, you're this, you're that. I just feel alive, I feel free, I feel incredibly grateful to have gone through the journey that I have and to be where I am now. I'm just so blessed.
I had a very, very anxious time, terrible, terrible anxiety. I became very judgmental. I had a fear when I wasn't doing well, because then where's my wisdom? Where's God? And now there's no thinking around that. It doesn't even question it. The fact is that you're whole and you know it. I feel free. I feel like I can just, dance my way wherever it goes. I'm not trying to fight my way through my mind. For me, it's quieter. It's just simpler. Going within and listening and welcoming and is so healing. It's like a blanket almost to the soul. It's like giving yourself a hug for the first time when all your life you've been shooting arrows at yourself. That understanding really changed me. The wholeness is actually God, because when you allow the wholeness, when you allow possibility in everything, you're actually allowing, I feel that I'm allowing God much more in my life. I'm allowing myself to be led more rather than my head leading me. But I feel that because I'm not thinking about it, because I'm just living in that space. I'm just whole in myself, and I'm just dealing with myself in a more wholesome way.
Yeah, wow. It really touches my heart, Michelle and Elise. And I think, Elise is with us. So I don't know if you guys have any questions for her. I'm putting Elise on the spot again now. Sorry, Elise.
Put them in the chat.
Put them in the chat. So, yeah, if you've got any questions, if you've got any comments, put it in the chat. I'm going to ask you a question because no one's saying anything yet. Is what we have said so far, is it making sense? Put a yes, a Y, or an N for no. Y for yes, N for no. Is this making sense, what we're talking about? Put it in the chat. We want to hear from you guys. Oh, hi, Lynn. Nice to see you, my darling. Tony, yes. Lynn, yes. Elaine, yes. Anna, yes. Steve, yes. Hannah, big yes.
Yeah. Oh.
Oh, I just want to say thank you to Elise.
Yeah.
Like, for her to share so deeply from where she was to where she is now, and Michelle, who isn't on this webinar at the moment, and for Julian sharing, all of our current or ex students.
It's
I'm just wordless.
It's holding a space. So we have these facilitator trainings, but we have to call it something, but it's holding space to be fellow humans, because we learn so much from echoing, from resonating with each and every one of our students that post something in the group. There's this exquisite exchange that when me and Rudy what we know is we don't know. It opens up so much space. It's like this blank canvas of infinite potential for all of us to grow within. Because when you know something, I know this, you don't hold space for that. You don't, there isn't anything more than you can know, anything more that you can put into something if you know everything. So we know that we don't know. And that's so amazing. But I learn so much from these beautiful humans, just listening to them.
I know.
It helps us see ourselves just that much clearer in the exchange.
So we're going to keep waffling, as they say in England, talking a lot until,
We
or
say
if
pancakey.
someone has got a comment or a question in the chat, then we'll do that. Oh, Ruth, yes, takes away the pressure of positive thinking. Sorry, I'm not visible, but I'm in bed with a bad cold in wintry Edinburgh. Oh, that's lovely. Thank you, Ruth.
It helps what I, deep in my heart, what I wanted to do was help others navigate this human experience instead of judge, just like we would navigate the cold in Edinburgh that Ruth is experiencing. We wouldn't go out with a t-shirt and a pair of shorts and then judge ourselves for being cold. We would understand that there's a natural intrinsic rhythm to nature, and we are nature in human form that cycles. So offering a space as a fellow human for other fellow humans to navigate in their own unique way. Not everybody wants to do yoga. Not everybody wants to dance. Some people, we all navigate, and that's the beauty of it. We are all these beautiful expressions. There isn't anybody like you. One wouldn't look at a snowflake and say, oh, well, this snowflake is just doing it all wrong. It doesn't look like the others. Well, it's not supposed to.
Yeah.
There wouldn't be a brilliant human experience if we were all the same. In a way, it's like we're expressing from this source everything that ever was and ever will be, unified, almost like assimilated, if you will. There is no experience, but we express out with our own exquisite, divine, unique perspectives and express from there.
And then if you're a C note in an orchestra and you hear a D note, oh, that's nicer note. So you then try and be a D note.
Right.
An orchestra needs all the notes. It needs all of it. And there's nobody like you. And Kevin, Anna, Tony, James, like there's literally, there is nobody out of 8 billion people just on this earth.
There can't be.
There's nobody like you. You are your own unique expression. And I've found when you get to the level of not really giving a crap what other people think of you, it's a fierce form of freedom. But getting there is very gritty. But when you get there, it allows you to create miracles.
Yeah, everything's a miracle.
Everyone's very quiet. Elise, do you want to say anything, my darling? You don't have to, but we just played your video that I finished editing last night. Do you want to say anything?
I'm getting used to this being put on the spot. I could talk for hours and hours about what I got from Wholality, the whole journey, and it's not over yet. But it's sufficient to say, I feel free. All of me feels free. Everything I've done in the past seemed almost compartmentalized. So I've got the work thing, I've got the money thing, I've got the clients, I've got the house, I've got this. But there was always something that didn't quite feel right. Always something that wasn't at peace, always something that was missing. And everything seems to have just come together. There is so much peace, there's so much freedom. And as you've shared, as Michelle did in her testimonial and Julian, it's not all sunshine and flowers and great times. But you embrace all of it. You embrace the ups, the downs. And it kind of takes a sting out of everything in life. And you know that you can't have the beautiful, joyful times without the times where you're literally on your knees. And you learn to navigate it. And the journey that I've been on with everyone in the program, everyone just holds that space for you. And you learn to do it for yourself as well. But for me, I've never felt so free. I've never felt so free to be me, to be all of me, where I'm not editing anything. There's no way I have to show up. There's no cringing and thinking, oh, why did I say this? Why did I do that? That's how I showed up in the moment. And let's go on to the next moment and the next. And there are times when I can rant and rage like anyone, but it's all part of it. We don't have the sun out 24/7. We have rain, we have snow, we have all of it. And I want a life. I wanted a life with just sun. Now I want every single season. I want it all. Kind of feels greedy saying that, but I do. I want everything, because I'm not scared of it now. And I know that I'm not going to stay there. It's not going to rain forever. The sun will come out. And then you'll have more rain, and then you'll have something else. So freedom, and totally love who I am. However I show up, wherever, so much love and compassion for me and for other people. So much compassion for everyone, because we're all doing the best that we can. And everyone's just trying to get through and make do. And for anyone who's already, it's not a destination as such, but when you know this, when you live this, you can hold that space for everyone else. Just like Brood and Jules, the way that you are, and Jules, what you said about, you want to be this for other people. You want to help them navigate. You naturally start doing that. There's less judgment. If you're not judging yourself, you're not judging anyone else. But you only judge other people when you are so damn critical towards yourself. So that's why I have compassion for people who do judge. They're hurting.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And I keep coming back to the self-love and the freedom. See, all of that, up, down, all of it. And it just keeps, that common denominator through it all. It's just beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Cool.
Oh, thank you, Elise. Beautiful. I have just put a link to our Wholality Unified Nature Facebook group in the chat. It's a free group. Come and join us. We have all these discussions and there's videos and stuff. But before we end, we've got another student, Hannah, who'd like to say something. I'm not sure. Yeah, Hannah.
Here you are.
What would you like to say? We'd love to hear from you.
Hello. Hi, everyone. I used to try and avoid getting upset. I used to think that I had to do more to avoid getting stressed. There was always more that I seemed to need to do in order to feel harmonious. And I've realized now that it's not about avoiding the negative moods, the low moods. It's all welcome, because my experience of the low moods now is more of an embracing of my humanness. It's And that's the softness that comes into play every time. It's like, okay, there's no need to run away from this tight feeling. And when I lean into the sensations of my body, and that's been just a massive, massive shift, you know, coming from the world of three principles, where I completely denied my body. I'm a yoga teacher, and I completely diverted my body. I ignored everything that it was saying to me. And now I can listen. I can sense these messages and signals arising, and it's all for me. I am protected. Everything's okay. And that's not to say that I don't have, you know, contractions. Of course, it's not that doesn't happen anymore. It's just a totally different experience of them. So I urge anyone, from no matter what background you're from, just spend more time with these amazing people, because there is nothing else out there that I have yet to find that encompasses an embracing of everything that you are. So yeah, thank you again.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you, Hannah. Ah, wow. Okay. So, oh,
Did you have a question, Julie?
Well, I just want to add, have I frozen? You've got me, yeah. I just wanted to add one thing, that was all. It just occurs to me, it's an important point, you teachers. And that's that a lot of teachings tell us that your thinking and all that creates your reality. And therefore your negative thoughts and feelings create your reality. And what you teach us is that sort of the lower frequency feelings and thoughts have very little power to create our reality, but the positive and good feelings have much more power. So it's another reason we don't have to be afraid of the negative and the lower and the ebb and the wave, because it doesn't really have any power to do anything. I just think that's another important point, because that's another reason you sort of feel like you've got to be positive all the time and on top of the wave. And it's not true, basically. Yeah.
Beautiful, Julian. Yeah,
Beautiful.
absolutely. That's like noise canceling headphones. That's the deconstructive, deconstructive frequency.
Yeah, we
Is that the
should
word?
probably do a webinar around conscious creation,
Yeah.
about how an internal vibration can create in the world, because it really isn't an inner and an outer, it's all entangled.
Right.
But anyway, that's a whole other topic. So maybe we'll do a free webinar specifically around that point that Julian raised.
Deconstructive interference.
Is that what you were thinking?
Yeah, versus constructive interference. Absolutely. And that's getting the body involved.
Yes.
Getting the body involved and congruent with the thought that you're, thinking. Because you can think a thought, but if the body isn't unified, isn't congruent with that thought, it's going to cancel each other out, which can be good, but also that's why we point our students to the body.
Yeah, the whole beingness.
Absolutely.
So it's been an hour. So it's time to go. Thank you for Julian, Hannah, Elise, Michelle, who is in the video. I think anyone else I've gotten? I think that's everybody. Yeah, I think that's everybody. So my point of this webinar, our point of this webinar, inner freedom, inner unconditional freedom can never be found in transcending. Yes, you can transcend and you can feel amazing and expansive, and I'm sure many of you have felt this, but it will wear off at some stage. Okay, I remember doing a 2-week meditation retreat and I felt amazing, and then it only took me an hour of being back in central London with a huge bill that came through my door to lose that feeling. So freedom isn't in transcending. Freedom, as you've heard from these guys, is in embracing not your true self, not your true nature, your whole self, your whole nature, all of it.
Can I draw the infinity?
Yes, do it.
Rudy did this. Oh, shoot, I'm gonna mess it up, Rudy. There. That's the infinity, because it's all of us.
Embracing the ebb and the
It's-
flow as one.
The word Ananda has been described, or I say misinterpreted, as bliss, because if you take the long A, it means great. The long A in Ananda. The short A, as in Advaita, means not, but the long A means great. So to me, it's the great contentment.
Yeah.
It's-
Great is
it's
all of it.
holding space for
Yeah.
all of it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
beautiful. So there's a link to the Facebook group. Come and join us. We're about to release like products, like $20 products and things around depression, around feeling sad, around anxiety, around all manner of different things where we look at the wholeness of being in those specific areas. But with a Facebook group, we're going to let you know what's coming up and when.
You can
and
vote and yeah,
vote. You can vote
absolutely.
on what webinars you want, free webinars you want next, and all of that malarkey. Do you say malarkey in America?
No.
Oh, malarkey means and all that good stuff. Okay, lots of love to you, and we'll see you on the next Monday webinars. Okay, bye for now. Thanks, guys. Sleep well.